stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leave him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
There was a time in my childhood when we didn't have cable television. We were moving and we had to live in an apartment for a couple months or something. I don't know. I was really young. It's hazy. All I know is that we didn't have cable TV while we were there, and those, my friends, were dark times. Saturday mornings were only filled with the Canadian channels we could get with our TV antenna, and if old rabbit ears don't make sense to you because you're too young, I'm really sad, and feel free to okay boomer me in the comments. Is what it is. So instead of the good US channels and the good US cartoons based on the good US toy lines I like Masters of the Universe and Transformers up here in Canada, we had this weird Hercules cartoon. I looked it up and here's what it hilariously says about it on Wikipedia. The Mighty Hercules is a Canadian/American low-budget animated television series based loosely on the Greek mythological character. They made 128 episodes, which seems impressive until you realize each episode was only 5.5 minutes long. He had the sidekick named Newton, who was a boy centaur and constantly repeated himself, "What do we do now, Herc? What do we do now?" He was like C-3PO levels annoying. And then Toot, a satyr who only talked through a flute, which I just found out was actually called a Syrinx. His girlfriend Helena I was a big fan of, and his enemy Daedalus. I love Daedalus. Halfway through the series they tried to freshen Daedalus up and put an iron bucket on his head. Another villain was Wilhelmina the Sea Witch, who was awesome, and someone named Murtis, who was invincible because he wore a metal helmet. Wait a second, am I remembering this wrong? Keep reading. Yeah, that was a completely different dude. His name was Murtis. Murtis sounds like my name. I'm suddenly excited about the show and want to see it again. Just YouTubing some old episodes has made my heart happy. Well, this review didn't start like I expected it to. Let's move back. Let's move back to the Disney's Hercules. This has got to be one of the last white clamshell movies they ever released. We got to be getting up there. Roll tape. The narrator is interrupted by a choir of singers. The flashback story is sung by these gals and the animation is going a little nuts. I see what they're going for, but I'm not entirely loving this. I don't know if it's because I just saw the old realistic Hercules animation, but all these exaggerated limbs and perspective shots of the Disney characters is a little off-putting. If we're going to tell a story based loosely on Greek mythology, it should probably be played as realistic as possible. Am I wrong? This should be like Atlantis-style animation. Small detail. Let's continue. Hercules logo appears soaring through the clouds, and now I feel like I'm riding soaring down in Epcot. Those are warm memories. We enter the gates of Mount Olympus and we meet baby Herc and his parents. Zeus glows. Hermes looks like Paul Schaefer and his work in the room. I don't like this animation. The baby's couple gifts are a large pile of golden objects, and I feel I missed an opportunity for a baby gift registry joke. Little Herc is given a baby flying horse called Pegasus. Hades appears. The animation style continues to hurt this movie. I want serious Black Cauldron characters, not this goofy willy-nilly style. Back to the musical interlude with Hades traveling down the river Styx with Charon paddling. See, this is a little better. Greek mythology is fascinating and complex and dark, and the less Three Stooges slapstick comedy, the better. I love Greek mythology. Clash of the Titans, one of my favorite movies of all time. One day I'll sell my car and buy a rare Kraken toy off eBay. Not just because I love the movie and I love the toy, but also Kraken is the name of the Swedish publishing house that bought my first ever full-length novel. It is what it is. And we enter Hades and it has a McDonald's over 1 billion served sign. That's brave. There's probably an audience out there that doesn't think permanent damnation is funny, but we continue. Hades has 3 spooky witches whose eyes fall out, and Hades flirts relentlessly with them, so they will show him the future. They show him a future where Zeus fails and Hades rules, but only if Hercules doesn't interfere. He has a couple of demon sidekicks as well and reveals to them his plan to turn Hercules mortal, since you can't kill a god, so he's going to turn him mortal and kill him. The demon sidekicks kidnap Herc but bumble the killing and instead drop him, where a mortal couple find him and adopt him on the spot, as you do. We find out through the gospel choir that Herc didn't drink the full potion that turns him mortal, so he kept his strength. But like when you touch an egg in the nest, the mother bird wants nothing to do with it anymore, so Herc's parents took a step back and just watched him grow up from afar while his mortal couple raised him. Jump forward in time, and Herc is a teenage boy, and the humans in his city are terrified of him because of his godlike strength, and I can relate. It's lonely. One of the boys his age jokes, they should call him Hercules. Home run. Herc continues to be a square god pig in a human round hole. Oof, and accidentally destroys half the city trying to catch a spinning bull. The kids return to call him Hercules to his face, and it's still funny. The townspeople want to run the freak out of the city, and I'll check the main character's an outcast Disney box. At least his parents didn't die. Herc's human dad tells him he'll be okay, but Herc knows he doesn't belong and breaks into the song, I Can Go the Distance. Nice, I never knew what movie that was from, despite viewing every single Disney CD compilation ever made. His human parents show him the symbol of the God's medallion that was around his neck when they kidnapped him from his demon kidnappers back when he was a baby. He sings the last chorus of the song as he leaves his human family. He goes to the mountaintop and prays to Zeus. The Zeus statue comes to life and talks to him. Despite his inhuman strength, the medallion of the gods found around his neck as a baby, he still can't believe he's a god, even when Zeus tells it to his face. Zeus says he has to become a hero by finding the traitor Helatites and tells him to hold his horses before reuniting Hercules with Pegasus. Zeus with a dad joke. The song isn't over yet. Herc jumps back into the chorus of I Can Go the Distance one more time. They cut to the night sky and highlight some astrology. That was really cool. Nice ad. They meet an imp named Phil, and I guess that's our Newton. He wants Phil's training, but Phil says he's retired. Phil is obviously voiced by Danny Devito, and all I can see is Frank from Always Sunny in Philly. He names all the other gods he's helped and, quote, none of them can go the distance. Phil says his dream was to train the greatest hero ever. I wonder if we will see him cut off Medusa's head and show it to the Kraken. That would be awesome. That came out of nowhere. Herc promises that he can indeed go the distance, and I sink deeper into my cup of coffee. Phil is singing now. He doesn't want to train Herc, but he is struck by lightning, I assume by Zeus, so he suddenly changes his mind and agrees to train Herc after all. A blue centaur is harassing a young lady, and the dialogue is getting vaguely assaulty when Herc intervenes. The centaur knocks Herc into the lake. Phil tells him to use your sword, and Herc dramatically draws a fish. This movie is so hell-bent on ascending and descending and ascending and descending. Again, I'm a big fan of Greek mythology, and I can't help but feel this is not doing it justice. Herc fights the centaur while the lady nonchalantly dries her hair, and Phil uncomfortably hits on her. We are treated to an awkward shot of her bending over in the lake, and despite Phil and Pegasus not wanting Herc to have anything to do with her, he walks right past them and introduces himself while staring at her butt. This is a bizarre moment in Disney history. Anytime Disney adds sexual tension between their human characters, it's kind of uncomfortable. She's Megora, but her friends call her Meg, at least they would if she had any friends. She saunters and flirts with him. He asks how she got involved with the centaur, and when Herc asks her what happened, she says very seductively, and I quote, well, you know how men are. They think no means yes, and get lost means take me, I'm yours. Meg's voice started off kind of sexy, but now she's giving off a Fran Drescher vibe. Meg is working for Hades. Twist, who realizes Hercules is still alive, because somehow the stories of this destroying teenage klutz never quite made it down to hell. We dip deeper into filler as Herc and Pegasus mingle with some locals who are in need of a hero. They call him a chariot chaser, and I rub my temples because Hercules is a way better insult. Meg returns and is yelling about a disaster. Kids are trapped in a rock slide. This is the opportunity Herc needs to be a hero, and he takes off. I hope it's not a trap. Herc lifts a boulder and saves the two kids, and it was a trap. Meg. We get some great computer animation here as a dragon / sea serpent emerges and attacks Herc. The animation fight sequence here is phenomenal, as classic animated Herc fights computer animated sea serpent and eventually cuts his head off, then it grows 3 more heads from the stump. This is just amazing. Time to check the VHS clamshell though. Jeez, she is rated G. I don't know about that, Disney. Herc is now fighting an army of these creatures and looks to have lost, but wins, and the townspeople cheer, and Meg is impressed. Down girl. Cue the choir for another bizarre musical segue interlude, which includes the lyrics, he was so hot, steam looked cool, and who put the glad in gladiator? The montage shows how he does become a hero, and the movie pokes fun at people selling Hercules licensed merchandise, such as toys and sandals, which bends the mind a little because Hercules is one of the few Disney movies that doesn't have a plethora of merchandise available. Back to the movie, Hades claims that maybe he hasn't been throwing the right curves at Hercules and rubs his hand down Meg's body. Herc wants to become a god again, but Zeus says he's not ready and tells him being famous isn't the same as being a true hero, and I can't help but feel that's an inside dig at someone. Like the writers fired that shot at a celebrity who turned down the project or something. More and more this feels like the Super Mario Bros. 2 of the Disney catalog. Like the Disney team missed all their deadlines, panicked, and ended up just buying the movie version of Doki Doki Panic and slapping their logo on the case and releasing it. Herc, now a celebrity, has to hide from the mob, and Meg finds him hiding behind a curtain, and the seduction begins. Now she kind of talks down to him and suddenly seems old. I wonder if she's closer to like 35, 40. Well, he's like 18. I can't unthink that. She tries to force herself on him and he denies her, and he slides her dress strap back up onto her shoulder, which is confusing as he's been previously smitten with her and now he's back to flirting with her after that. Mixed signals guy. Girls love mixed signals. Now they're about to kiss and Phil breaks them up. Meg sings a bizarre song that sounds like an 80s sitcom intro and the choir backs her up. So now Meg is in love with Herc and tells Hades the deal is off, but Hades actually owns her, so it's not that easy. Phil sees Hades with Meg and realizes she's a Jezebel. Pegasus is seduced by a pink flying horse who turns out to be the Hades henchman in disguise. They nab Pegasus. Phil tries to tell Herc about Meg and Herc thanks him with some good old-fashioned physical abuse. Phil says he thought he was going to be a champ, not a chump. Hades visits Herc and offers the deal. If Herc gives up his powers for 24 hours, he will free Meg. Hades reveals that Meg has been working for him the whole time and tears out Herc's heart, who falls to his knees sobbing. Now comes the pageantry as Hades releases the Kraken, I guess, which is some tornado demon, I guess, that freezes things, and there's a Cyclops. Oh, the Titans have escaped and are heading to destroy Mount Olympus. One blubbery monster calls out Hercules and Meg says he can't go because he'll be killed, and Herc says, there are worse things. And Herc is all drama. Meg gets Pegasus back and tries to get Phil to help Herc. Meanwhile, the Titans have captured all the gods except Zeus, and Hades says, Zeusy, I'm home, which I imagine goes over 90% of the audience heads, but I can appreciate that. A pillar is going to land on Herc, but Meg rolls him out of the way and it crushes her instead. And even without his powers, he lifts it off of her. Adrenaline, I guess? No, Hades' spell is broken because he promised Meg wouldn't get hurt. So for Herc to win, Meg had to get hurt. This movie is not a fan of women. The Titans have captured all the gods. They're all in chains. Hercules appears and frees them, and it's on with Hercules. The Titans don't stand a chance. Hades returns Meg and cuts her lifeline. Meg is dead. Sadness, and it turns to anger, and Herc is pissed off. Hades shows Herc the River of Death as the souls spin into Green Lake. Herc agrees to trade places with Meg, which makes no sense, as they still wouldn't be able to be together that way. But then in another twist, they can't cut Herc's lifeline because, surprise, he's actually a god, and now he punches Hades' face inside out, which is hilarious. It uppercuts him into the river of death and the souls drag him down. Meg is alive, Herc is alive and glowing. They float away on a cloud to Mount Olympus. All is forgiven with Meg, and Zeus says he's a true hero because he tried to give his life for Meg's. He can now go home. The gods celebrate, but Meg is sad. Guess she wants attention as well. Nope, Herc wants to stay on Earth with Meg instead of living with the gods. The choir starts up again and we get credits. Okay, if the animation wasn't all Looney Tunes, this would be up there with their other amazing, more adult-oriented movies like Black Cauldron and Atlantis. Great story, great characters, but yeah, the animation really dragged this movie down. Now, excuse me while I work on my Murda's Halloween costume.
The mighty Hercules.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.